Welcome back to another episode of Careful Boys. We have with us Nimesh.
Hey!
What up?
Thanks for being here, man.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, dude.
What's happening?
So this dude, really great stand-up comedian. If you guys have probably seen him on IG.
That's where I found
funny stuff. Yeah, I've seen him too. He just kind of pops up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The first clip I saw of you on the Explore page, you were talking about Asian hate, and then you're also talking about how you went to Asian hate rally, but then it was just like a Supreme drop online. I was like, dude, I like this guy. Hell yeah.
East Asians are on top of their fucking Supreme, man. I've never seen.
You're all waiting in line. Yeah! And then they're like, oh, fuck!
Shoe drop? Give us a free shit. No, it was fun. I mean, that special, that clip was actually like, I think I started with that as like, oh, this is gonna open the special. Like, this is what I want to open with it. And it's like, and then I remember talking a lot of comments on this shit, like, aren't you Asian? I'm like, you guys don't understand comedy at all. I'm just saying that so I can make this joke, but one of my best friends in high school saw that. They was like, I remember that time. This bit is about like this Asian guy, my friend Johan. Probably shouldn't say his name, but
Asian guy named Johan?
Yeah. His parents want him to succeed.
Probably shouldn't say his name twice.
He did. He went to Harvard. He's fucking killing it right now. But he got some white kid hockey player called him the chink, and fucking Johan was like, "Fuck that!" and he just slammed him into the wall. I was like, "Oh my!" And it was like, Johan's a big guy, so it was this hockey player just slammed him into the wall. I was like, at that point, I was like, Asians, you can't fuck with these dudes, man. They're wild. And I was like, from that point on, I was like, I mean, I just remember that bit thinking, this is how I want to start the special off, because I wanted to frame it around what was going on in the world at the moment. I think Asian hate has kind of like died down, that whole movement. I don't know what's happened to it, but
The hate still pops up here and there.
the movement is no longer. Yeah, the hate is strong. Hate never dies. Yeah. But
But people marching for it, I don't know right now.
Just us, dude. We still march. We still march every week.
really?
Yeah, well, I'm sort of.
We'll explain later.
Okay.
That's all I'm thinking now.
But yeah. But thank you. I'm glad that bit resonated. Some people didn't like it. Some people, but that's just how comedy goes.
I feel like that's just what's been happening, like online, especially with comedy. Like, there's like such a weird new group of folks that it's like, where did you come from? That all of a sudden people stop understanding comedy.
I think it's just the distribution of comedy has made it such that, anyone who wants something that resonates with them can go find it. Like, if you want to only hear like positive things and things that are like woke, so to speak, you can go find that, and then the algorithm is designed to give that to you.
What's that? Whack flex? Whack flex.
Whackflix. Oh, Whackflix.
That shit sounds whack as fuck. Who wants to hear happy shit?
It's like hoorah SJW comedy.
Yeah.
Are you a fan?
The thing is, those people have been around, like comedians have been around, the internet has been around, right? But what we've seen, well, at least for me, the change is like right around the Hillary Trump campaign, people started getting way more like politicized, and jokes weren't so cool anymore, and things were happening like, and then it got crazier and crazier, and like I think in the height of COVID, like people lost their sense of humor or something happened, because people that used to laugh at the same jokes, they completely flipped, and now they're not cool with it, or I don't know what happened.
Do you find that like in the clubs where like
I think
people are more sensitive?
I don't mean to cut you off, but I don't. I think these stories of like, and this is something it's like sound like a what's it called, a broken record, but I think the stories of all that are kind of like overinflated. I think this whole cancel culture thing and all that, it's like but it's a lot smaller than people make it seem to be. Like, you think like, oh, you can't say shit anymore, you can't say. No, that's not true at all. Like, come see me at the club this weekend. It's like, not that I'm saying like wild shit just to say wild shit, but it's definitely not like, oh, boo, none of that kind of shit happens. Like, it's ridiculous.
Most of that stuff's relegated to online, yeah.
For sure, it's online.
Yeah.
No.
Online, we felt it where our videos would get like taken down. some of the content. We know like our channel got suspended, like things like that.
Oh, this one, Just Kidding News. This one.
Like before, a lot of this stuff wasn't being regulated, you know, or like we would make a funny post on Instagram, and then the robots don't know satire, sarcasm. They don't know any of that stuff, and then they label it as violence or whatever. Because one time I said, this guy was like, dude, how did you get your arms so big? And I'm like, I beat my girlfriend.
Well, yeah, it's gonna get flagged.
Did I ever tell you? Did I ever tell you my IG account got my IG account got put on probation, and it was because of a photo here.
Your IG went on probation?
My IG went on probation, so I couldn't make money off of anything. Like
Because of a photo here?
a photo here, we were taking one outside, and you were just like shirtless as usual. And then under it was the IG story. It wasn't even a post. It was the IG story. I reposted an IG story, and you're just naked in the front. And then I just wrote "sex sells."
Oh my
And then my account went on probation for like 8 months.
You look like a child when you're naked.
Yeah, dude. He's got the tiniest little nipple.
I was like, what the fuck? It just went off probation like a month ago.
You read that Google shit where like some guy sent a picture of his baby's dick to the doctor, and Google like flagged it as child porn.
No way.
Deleted his entire account. Reported to the cops and all that. Yeah.
Baby?
Well, yeah, I mean, his kid had an infection in his dick or whatever, so the doctor was like, just send me a picture. He sent a picture, and Google flagged it as kid porn.
Oh shit!
Motherfucking shit got wiped.
Damn.
Yeah, locked out. So it wasn't that bad.
Gmail's watching, dude.
Yeah.
Fucking dick pics. Wow.
Online does feel more sensitive, because yesterday I just saw this dude, some Asian dude, and it made me feel fucking like disgrace. But he was trying to call out like Tina Fey, like, Tina Fey only makes these Asian jokes. Look at Mean Girls. Look at this part. I'm like, man, shut the fuck up, dude.
Dude, what?
Like he's like digging up things, because to me like comedy or pieces of art is made in context of that time, right? So if that was cool at that time, don't dig up something fucking 15, 20 years ago. Like if we're more woke now, then we'll make comedy or art that matches the social sentiment of the day. But when you're gonna dig up old shit, to me that's like the most bitch-made shit in the world. And I'm like, what the fuck?
Yeah, if you're gonna dig up old stuff, you gotta appreciate it. Like, old enough for kisses.
Yeah, like Clint Eastwood did.
Well, some stuff remains timeless. Like Asian jokes will always be funny if they're funny.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean?
If they're
But like, you can't fuck a 12-year-old and be like, hey, this is 1958. You can do that shit.
It's a different time.
In 1940,
We're all free here.
1940,
Yeah.
Before the war ended, it was all good.
It's free reign.
It definitely seems like if you're willing to bring yourself all the way to the club, you probably have a higher chance of responding well to humor.
That's
true.
true.
Exactly.
Rather than like the
Spending
comment
money.
somewhere is just like all access to anybody, so you're just gonna attract all kinds of stuff. Yeah.
What's most concerning is the way people access comedy now. Like before, it was like, like you could watch 4 channels or whatever it was, or there was like 20 comedians who were like doing huge things. Now it's like, if you can get to like a 17-year-old early or 16-year-old early with like your comedy, and your comedy is not necessarily like of old guard like Rock and Dave and all them, then it's like, if it's just like SJW, so to speak, stuff, then it's like you might be those people might be impressionable, and they're like, this is what comedy's supposed to be. It's like, no, comedy is just whatever makes you laugh. Like you just haven't been in a position to laugh at certain things, or been made to laugh at certain things, so now you think that thing isn't funny, whereas you've just been in your own echo chamber. That's concerning to me. But beyond that, it's like all this cancel culture shit, all that is just gonna pass. Like the pendulum always swings the other way. And like we're seeing it now with like people who are blowing up now. It's like people are saying the wildest shit, and just for the sake of saying it, and they're doing great. And I don't know what's happening on this other side, where it's like, I don't know any, to use the term again, SJW comedians who are like killing the game right now. Like I don't know anyone selling out, clubs and shit with that fucking, this is how, Donald Trump is a piece of shit, and like that's all getting, that even that feels hacky now,
Yeah.
What do you think about the comedian Andrew Tate?
Hilarious.
My favorite comedian.
Andrew Tate. Oh yeah, I mean, I don't know any of his stuff. I just know that he's been canceled or like they've kicked him off of YouTube and Facebook and Instagram.
Yeah.
And I feel like that is, from what I've heard about him, seems fairly right. Like that's supposed to happen. What people don't talk about is that, and I'm working on a bit about this, but it's like it goes back to how impressionable people's brains are.
Yeah.
It's like Mr. Rogers had it right. If you get to these kids early and teach them like ethics and values and all that stuff very early, that carries forward throughout their lives.
Yeah.
Andrew Tate is gonna be talking shit about this is how you treat women and throw her against a wall and this and that. It's like you're talking to a 15-year-old kid. This kid like think about the shit you learned when you were 15, how wrong it might have been, and the stuff that you were wrong about and that just stayed in your brain. Like that doesn't get talked about enough about like how easily manipulated a kid's brain could be. So Andrew Tate being kicked off of that shit, I'm perfectly fine with it because it's targeting kids like 15, 12, 13, 14 years old, or whatever, boys whose brains are easily warped and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I thought in 5th grade, I thought a rich man had a lowrider with rims. That was the epitome of wealth.
You're partly right.
Did you grow up on Mr. Rogers too?
No. My parents are Indian as fuck, but
They said you can't watch that shit.
Is there an Indian equivalent?
no white man is teaching you nothing.
Because what I took away from that show as a kid, I was like, man, this motherfucker takes off a jacket,
Dude,
put on another jacket.
That's my favorite part.
I'm like, this guy's how many jackets you got?
When he's untying his shoes.
You literally see his whole wardrobe every time.
That's how they live.
And he
man.
wears shoes in the house?
He has clothes for outside and the inside.
Yeah, why not? Cardigans for days.
Cardigans. He has pajama cardigans and everything.
No, there was no Indian equivalent. No, it was just Mr. Rogers was cool. I'm just saying, like
Like a
You watch
role
it?
model or something.
yeah, if you watch that documentary, I don't know if you guys seen it, but if you watch that doc, like the biggest takeaway for me was like he was just saying like kids are impressionable. You have to get to them early, and if like Andrew Tate is gonna take the spot.
Oh shit, he's a new Mr. Rogers?
Yeah, he's fucking. If he's taking over, then he's got to go because that's not right. Just imagine fucking Hezbollah had YouTube videos teaching children how to behave and treat.
Well, I think that's okay. I'm a big fan, so Hezbollah is okay for the kids.
So this is why Israel shouldn't exist.
It's either him or Alex Jones, you know. So it's
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
you gotta pick your.
I like Hezbollah.
Those are our top three.
I like him when he was playing with the pigeon and his old arch nemesis got together and they were petting a pigeon together.
I'm talking about Hezbollah. You're talking about the little kid.
Hezbollah, yeah.
Yeah, and I'm talking about Hezbollah.
Oh,
like fucking-
Hezbollah.
Yeah, like
The terrorist group?
Palestinian.
You're a big fan, he said.
I gotta read more books, dude.
Nick's like, no, I fuck with this.
Hezbollah, dude.
Hezbollah is different from Hezbollah.
Y'all talking about the pigeon and shit? This guy's like, what the fuck?
You guys want to talk about the Taliban next?
Borat had a funny one where he went into that store and then Borat, he went into a store and he was, cause there's hummus and there's Hamas. And then he's like, why do you have a Hamas? Why do you sell for the terrorists?
That's what just happened.
Yeah, basically, hummus and Hamas.
We're gonna strike that from the record.
No, we're gonna leave it in.
We're amplifying Zoom.
We're pro Hezbollah, dude.
He's like, oh, you're talking about the little kids. And I was like, he's actually 19, okay?
Oh, is it? My bad.
Did you grow up in New York?
No, I grew up in Jersey,
Oh, Jersey.
40 minutes outside of Manhattan, Parsippany, New Jersey, greatest town in the world. When I was there,
Why is it the greatest town in the world?
I'm just saying, it's just fantastic. Mad Indian shit, mad Asian shit. It's just, if you want to talk logistically, it's 40 minutes from the city, but it's got fantastic schools.
Do you still live there?
No. My parents live there still.
But like, let's say you were to settle down, would you move back over there?
Bart's about to convince you to move to Vegas for no reason.
No.
He pitches everybody to Vegas.
If I were of the mind to move to the burbs, Parsippany would definitely be a consideration, but only because my parents are there. My entire a lot of my extended family is there.
Oh.
Like I grew up learning that the way to live was to have family as close as possible. And I think that is something I never want to lose because I see like people now who have to, raise a kid or two with like grandparents far away or whatever. I'm just like, I understand that, and that's a an interesting position to be in, but it's definitely, I want to like drop my kids off. I don't have any kids, but drop my kids off my parents' place. Like, all right, peace out. Me and my wife are gonna go hang out for like 3 hours or whatever. You know, just like, and like have that influence on them. And I grew up, I say it special, but I grew up like surrounded by all my cousins. So I never felt this sense of other that I think Indians and East Asians, like a lot of people feel, I think. Like, I'm not sure if you guys have felt that way, but I never felt other from the sense of, oh, it's weird to be Indian. I always felt other in the sense like, I don't want to be like every other Indian. You know what I mean? Like, it's a difference.
Is there a huge Indian community in your neighborhood?
Yeah.
And is it all your family members or?
That's the whole community.
Yeah, no, Parsippany has probably got, outside of Edison, I would, and don't quote me on this, from actual, it's probably the second largest Indian population in New Jersey for sure. Outside of Edison. It's huge. And it's a lot of newer money. It's like IT people now. But when I was there, it was still big, but it's not what it's now. Like now, they got a Patel Brothers. They got like 12 different restaurants. It's massive. But when I was there, I think what attracted people to Parsippany when my parents moved there, my grandparents moved there, it was like they had like one Indian store. And that was enough to be like, go get Indian groceries. They had an East Asian grocery store on like Route 46. That was enough to have like East Asians move there. So it was just like that epicenter kind of just grew and grew and grew. And now it's
Is that store still there?
the Indian store?
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
I
It's
knew
still
it.
there. Yeah, of course.
It's a good community.
Yeah, that restaurant. I think it changed owners, but it's like it's almost not a strip mall, but like slightly smaller strip mall. It's like 4 joints. It's like Dunkin' Donuts, owned by Indian people. Indian restaurant, Indian banquet hall, and the Indian grocery store, all in the same. And
I
like,
saw you stand about Duncan where you're talking about chilling in the parking lot.
hell yeah, man, that was some shit.
Saying you're about to start your shift.
I love that joke, man.
What were you doing before comedy? Right before?
I graduated in 08 college with a finance degree, and so no, it was bad.
Hated it?
What's that?
You hated it?
No, it's not that I hated it. I just like I had like a 3.4, 3.5 at NYU, which is like decent, but it's not 3.7, which is all my friends had, and they went to like Goldman and Barclays and all this kind of shit. And so I was just like underemployed. I recruited or I interviewed at like 2 investment banks, and then didn't get either of one of those jobs because I wasn't the best interviewer.
In a recession, right?
Yeah. And then I was so like after I graduated, I was like, I don't have a job. I was like, what the fuck am I gonna do? I like was underemployed. I took like an internship at I took a temp gig at Bloomberg, and then I took an internship at the Economic Development Corporation in New York City. And none of those were like, oh, I gotta do this for the rest of my life kind of thing. And I was bored, got on stage in August of 2009. Like at an open mic in Jersey.
Just like shits and giggles?
Yeah, just
or?
randomly?
Yeah, I mean, like I took a writing class at NYU.
Yeah.
Like after graduating, they do like 10-week classes or whatever. I took one of those and was like really sappy. And I was like, this shit is corny as fuck. Like I don't want to fuck. They're my parents, whatever. And that didn't like compel me to keep going. And then I was just like, with my cousins, I was always the funny one. And like funny, like in a mean way, but at least
Roaster.
yeah, making fun, roaster and like talking shit and like saying goofy shit, but that was enough.
Jersey Indians.
Yeah, a little different. Hey.
Talking shit. You wearing that? No, just like that kind of shit.
Hey, Ma!
And I just got on stage and it was like, I was like, oh, I could do this. This doesn't seem that hard. That was really it. It was really just like I never had stage fright in the sense
Skip the whole like fear period.
Yeah, I never had stage fright in the sense that I don't like people looking at me. Or, like there's stage fright like I don't know if this material is gonna work or like man I hope they like this. Yeah. But it's never like everyone's looking at me. I hope, it was never that. It was just like man that joke didn't fuck man like that was concerning, but never like a fear of like sweating and people looking at me in a weird way and like oh what are they thinking about me that never bothered me. So I just got on stage and like I said I had 16 first cousins. They all came to my first show. Yeah. My first, it was an open mic where you had to bring people. And so I was like well all right I'll stack this fucking deck and that was it. Yeah it was it man. It was like it was a packed night and then that was August 19, 2009 so like 13 years and 4 days ago, baby.
But what about like the monetization model? Because it's like you go on stage, it's free, right? Some of them you gotta like, it's like
I had to
2 drink
pay for
minimum.
that.
Yeah, you gotta
Yeah,
pay.
yeah.
Like how about like getting it to the point where you're like, fuck, I'm unemployed, but I also need to make money. Like how did you make it into a way you can like live off of?
Well, that didn't happen until I didn't make money doing comedy. I still barely make money doing comedy, but I was, once I got the bug to be on stage, I was like, all right, I gotta be in New York. Like everyone's like, you gotta be in New York. And I was like close enough, so for about a year and a half, I was just taking a bus from my parents' place to New York City to do open mics and shit, like underemployed, making no money, like, or not making any money at all. Got an internship at my friend's hedge fund, and so that kept me in the city during the day, so then at night I could go do open mics and stuff.
It's like Batman.
Yeah.
Just like it.
And then,
Finance man.
and then through that internship, like with that experience on my resume, I got an assistant job at a hedge fund. So I was just like printing shit and like making copies, all this kind of bullshit. But it was in the city. It was in like 40 minutes outside of New York North, so I could move to the city and like commute to work and then come back, leave at like 5 o'clock from that job and hit open mics. And I did that for like that type of shit for a very long time until 2016. I was at a family office as like an associate, like looking at investments and stuff. We were traveling Africa and all that kind of shit. And then that company closed, and luckily, like I was looking for work, like cause we got like a 6-month notice, the shit was closing. And within that 6 months, like Chris Rock saw me, was like, hey man, you're really funny. 3 months after that, he was like, you want to write for the Oscars? I was like, yes. And then 3 months after that, I was in LA, like literally like 3 days after my actual job ended. I was in LA writing with Chris Rock for the Oscars.
Whoa.
And that was my first writing job. And then after that happened, I was like, oh yeah, I made it, baby. I'm writing for Chris Rock. Oscars happened, Governor's Ball is like right after the Oscars, like Sunday night. Monday night, I thought fame and fortune would come knocking. I'm at the Comedy Store, open mic, eating dollar pizza, hoping to get on. Like it was like that, and I was like, all right. So that's the reality of comedy. Wow. And then for like 6 months, I was looking for work. I got a job with Hassan, you know, on his Congressional Correspondence Dinner, which was before the White House Correspondence Dinner. And then for like 3-4 months, I was like, fuck, what am I gonna do? Like, I gotta go back into copyright. Like, maybe I can use this Oscars job as like a copywriting job, get me something still that pays bills and all this shit. That didn't happen. And then I got an email from this woman named Tina, who used to come to my show, Bar Mattress, which is where Chris Rock saw me. Tina emailed me saying, hey, I'm working for this girl named Aquafina. I like what you do. Do you want to help write on her show, her Go 90 show? I don't know if you know this or not, but Aquafina had a Go 90 show, which was like a Verizon network show.
I remember that.
It was like a talk show. Yeah. And so I think season 2 or 3, I don't know, maybe 4. I don't know what season it was. It was like me and her other head writer. Like, and that was like that job. It paid like nothing, but it was enough for me to be like, all right, you know what? I'm gonna do comedy. Like, fuck all this. I'm gonna just, things will work out, and if it doesn't, it doesn't. Like, I'll go back to being an assistant or some shit. But right now, for the next few months, and that was like September. For the next few months, September 2016. For the next few months, I'm gonna just do comedy and shit and see what happens. And then, you know, like, Comedy Cellar had a bunch of, I was passed at the Cellar that summer, so like I was getting a lot of work there, and I was like helping pay rent a little bit, and then like Comedy Cellar had a TV show that was popping off, and I was like good at the Cellar, so they were like, yo, you want to do this? Do you want to do this? I was like, yes, let's just keep going. And that was paying the bills, and that just kept me motivated enough to keep going. And then, yeah, that's it really. So like the payment of comedy and it turning into a business, like, what is not said often enough is that comedy, like stand-up for sure, and any pursuit in comedy is like highly entrepreneurial. Whereas like you gotta either make your own way and you gotta pray for a lot of luck, because I got very lucky. I was in the right place at the right time a lot of times. Like, had I never done that show at Broken Comedy at Bar Mattress, like that girl Tina would have never seen me, Rock would have never seen, or they might have not seen me at those times. And like, it was just like, you know, a lot of it was failing forward, but it was like, a lot of it was just like striking when the opportunity was hot. And that that was it. And then 2017 September, you know, I got a text from my boy Che. He was like, "Hey, congrats, you're writing for SNL now."
Wow.
And that was,
Michael Che?
yeah, that's my guy.
Wow. That's dope.
And I was writing a pilot for a sketch show, and I had to leave that pilot, obviously, to write for SNL, and that was September 2017 to May 2018, and then that ended, and I didn't get renewed, which hurt, but it was like, all right, that happens, and then I was like, all right, now I just gotta do stand up, I guess, and I thought as being the first Indian to ever write for SNL. That again, like fame and fortune would come knocking. Yeah. But that didn't mean shit. You know, that doesn't mean nothing. It was just like, all right, good for you.
It's pretty cutthroat over there.
It's not cutthroat. I mean, I was on the update team, so it was a little different. It's you'll hear war stories from people who aren't there, but it's like any other job where it's a high pressure job. Like I'm sure if you guys have worked like high pressure jobs, you know, it's just like. You gotta get your shit done. And,
Yeah, we've been on YouTube. It's pretty crazy. I know.
You gotta get your videos up. But no, it's like it was just from that was like July. I think July 2018. The day I got the call, I wasn't going back. Was the same day I had to run my set for the Seth Meyers Booker to do their show. So it was just like I had no time to process that. Did that show. Literally the next day, I had to go do a week of road work at Winnipeg Rumors Comedy Club in Winnipeg, and I feel like I'm doing Last Call on that late registration album or College Dropout. You know what I mean?
You know what's crazy? You say like, you know, whether it be like luck or being in the right place at the right time, but it also sounds like you had extreme dedication for a long period of time.
From ups and downs,
Yeah.
man.
That's what I respect. Like, it's cool that you point out how many times you have to like rework all over again.
Yeah.
And it's not just like one graph line going up.
That's the truth, though.
You can't like relax and just be like coasting.
People only see the results. They don't see what goes on behind.
Yeah. There was never.
Right.
At one point, it was like, all right, it was like a point of no return, you know? Like after that Aquafina gig, it was like, all right, well, no one's gonna hire you in the finance world if you've been MIA for like 7 months, 8 months. You know what I mean? Like that gap is almost unexplainable. You're like, and you can't go from being an associate, like looking at investments and stuff, to then being like, oh, I want to be an assistant. Like that doesn't happen.
Yeah.
You know, so, and if you want to continue on the associate path, which I might have been able to pursue, you gotta forget comedy because you know finance is still a fucking 14-hour, 18-hour day at that level. You know, it's like
Gotta combine it, dude. Comedy and finance.
Entrepreneurship.
Finance, bro. Yeah.
I think the real question here is, was it your jokes that got Will Smith to smack?
man,
You wrote that Jada joke.
You wrote that?
I would have been a lot meaner. I would have been a lot meaner than Chris was for sure.
Being so close to Chris Rock, how did it feel? I mean, sure, it must have felt way different. Because for me, like, we do our form of comedy here, right? But for me, like, comedy, it's like the sacred thing where it's like everyone should be able to fuck around because we know none of us really mean it. We're just explaining and exploring different thoughts and ideas.
Yeah.
So for someone so to me, like, comedy is like the floor is lava, right? And then so for Will Smith to take something personal, who's supposed to be a comedian too, and go, that's not lava, that's carpet.
Right.
I'm like, motherfucker, you ruined the whole shit.
Right.
So like for me, that's where my anger came from. For you, like, how did you feel being so close to Chris Rock and kind of seeing him kind of like, I don't know, do an anti-comedy act?
It was, I remember where I was. It's like, it feels like it's my 9/11, man. I was in the green room at the Addison Improv in Dallas, Texas, and I was right about to go on, and I was only watching because I think I just had it on in the background, like in the green room, and then they were like, oh, Chris Rock is up next, it's Chris Rock. I was like, okay, now I gotta watch, because Chris is going. And I turn it on, I'm like, oh, this is gonna be good. Chris comes out, I think says 2 or 3 jokes, and then says the Jada
The one
line.
that you wrote, yeah.
Sick line, bro.
And thank you. At first, you know, like, because when I wrote on the Oscars in 2016, we would definitely do sketch. Like, there was definitely bits where, like, you know, people do some shit from the crowd. So at first, I thought, like, it didn't look like a real slap. It looked like a TV slap for a second. Like, there's no way that he just hit him for real. But then when they cut the audio feed, I was like, oh, this is real. Like, because they don't cut the audio unless that shit is, like, happening in real time. And then you could see what Will Smith was saying, like, keep my wife's names out your fucking mouth. And that was bleeped, and that was with no audio. And I was like, oh, shit, like, that just happened. Like, that was some real shit that just happened. I immediately felt like I lost all respect for Will after that, because like Will was like growing up was like, and I'm sure it was for a lot of you guys too, like the fucking dude.
Yeah.
It was like watching my uncle slap my dad, like, you know what I mean, like,
That's what it felt like.
yeah. Like, what the fuck, how the fuck did that happen? And like I know a lot of people on Chris were like not swinging back and all this kind of shit. It's like, that's the most professional person on the planet.
I think that was the way
Nah, he did the right thing.
classy.
Of course.
And he kept it comedy.
And he made a joke, yeah.
Like, God
Like the
damn.
best moment of TV or some shit. Yeah.
Yeah, it was like the greatest moment in television history or something like that. Yeah. And it was just like
Jeez.
such a crazy thing to witness. I think I went on stage and I said almost exactly that. I was like, what a bitch ass dude Will Smith is. And it feels like now, if I see him, do I gotta fight him? You know, like, feels like one of those moments. Like, do you fight this dude now? And then he gave that soft ass apology like 2 weeks ago.
I am so ashamed of myself.
Yeah.
The box water and fucking books on his can. Shut up, Will. He's making money on an apology, bro.
You put an apology.
Yeah, you saw that he had the box water on his fucking table.
Brand deal
Yeah.
apology video, yeah.
Damn, that's genius. That's entrepreneurial, though.
Yeah. You gotta make money every way you can, man.
Comedy and finance.
See?